Hey everyone, it's Chris here with Zone Zero California, and I am right in front of the Occidental College campus here in the Eagle Rock neighborhood of Los Angeles. And of course, this is in the middle of a very high fire hazard severity zone. As with all the other videos we're doing in this series, we're going on the ground, taking you into the neighborhoods, showing you where these very high fire hazard zones are, not just to raise awareness about the dangers or about the Zone Zero regulations, but to show you the kinds of people and places that are affected, right? These very high fire hazard zones are in the middle of densely populated neighborhoods, historic neighborhoods, colleges, businesses. You know, we've been here in the Mount Washington area, traveling between Highland Park, Eagle Rock, a Glassell Park earlier, and just showing folks what these very high fire hazard severity zones look like. Of course, we take a drive around the neighborhoods, point out things like fences, gates, and landscaping that are going to be impacted by the Zone Zero regulations, just to give you guys an idea of how many homes and people and businesses are going to be impacted by these regulations. So now we are in the beginning of March. We do expect the state to finalize and publish their drafts for these new regulations. And we're expecting that it's going to be more of a broad, general, statewide level ruling or regulatory guideline. And then there's going to be more specific local, city or county level regulations to address the specifics of those communities, of those areas, because, you know, Los Angeles County or San Diego County is going to be much different than, you know, a less populated county somewhere else in California. And so a top-down, one-size-fits-all regulatory guideline wasn't really going to work. Now, and of course in Los Angeles and San Diego, other areas of Southern California, some of the biggest criticisms have been against the landscaping issue, right? And specifically when it comes to trees. Trees provide a natural source of shade, which is a natural source of cooling, which will help reduce costs, energy costs and things like that. But I've seen some studies show that the effect of the shade that trees provide can be somewhere in the neighborhood of like a 50-degree difference and that's a lot, especially in Southern California, other parts of California where you do get heat waves. And so aside from that, of course, Zone Zero, like what is it? It's the 0 to 5 feet around your property, around your structure, around your home. And there's a renewed focus on the building materials, right? And that's sort of what Zone Zero addresses. Essentially, everyone who lives, or if you have a business in these very high fire hazard severity zones, will have approximately 2 or 3 years to become Zone Zero compliant. So what does that look like? Well, it might be something like changing out your grass for gravel within that first 0 to 5 feet around your property or your structure. Old wood fences and gates, as I mentioned earlier, those are going to need to be removed or replaced. Now, when it comes to wood, it's mainly redwood or cedar that will probably need to be swapped out, and there are approved hardwoods, like for example Kayu Batu, that can be used. And of course these are like decking woods. And when it comes to decks and patios, of course, there's another piece of infrastructure that will apply to Zone Zero regulations. And so we want people to become aware of the problem now. You know, we want people to be prepared and not scared, because these regulations are the law of the land, and these changes will need to be taken. They will need to take place. And so, of course, we have our school community. There's a link in the description. I've compiled a bunch of resources there for you, like links to grants for financial assistance, to get aid in addressing some of these issues if you do have a home or property in those very high fire hazard severity zones. Besides decking, fences and gates, and landscaping, your siding might be an issue. You know, we've been in these historic LA neighborhoods, a lot of craftsman style homes. Those have wood siding, right? If you have other mid-century style homes, those could also have wood siding. I have seen a number of craftsman homes with stucco siding to replace that wood siding. Of course, you lose that architectural style and feel, but nevertheless, you may be compelled to, given these Zone Zero laws. And that's what we mean by some of the more county or city level jurisdictions, they might have more specific guidelines. There may be exceptions for historic properties. But again, when you look at it as a fire hardening system, if you're allowed to keep your wood siding to keep that classic architectural style, make sure your landscaping is Zone 0 compliant. Make sure your fences and gates are Zone 0 compliant, right? And of course there's roofing. Now most roofing material is, for the most part, flame retardant, non-combustible, fireproof, right? But let's go back to that example of, you know, your landscaping. If you've got a tree next to your home and it litters leaves on the top of your roof and you fail to clean that regularly, well, what happens when they accumulate? That's going to be a pile of combustible material. And then in the next fire event, when the ember storm blows and lands on your roof, that can cause a fire. Combined with the high winds, that fire might get uncontrollable very quickly and your property could be damaged. And that's kind of what we've seen as the result of the studies that have been done over the past 10 or 15 years of these large-scale fires, is that the main culprit is the embers blowing, sometimes from miles away, and landing on other properties, and the properties then not being fire hardened to the extent that they should be. Mainly because people might assume, hey, I'm not in what's historically been thought of as a fire-prone area, but now, after the fires in Los Angeles last year, we know CAL FIRE updated their maps. And those are the maps we're using as we travel and visit these neighborhoods. I'm gonna leave it there, enough yapping. One thing I wanna let you guys know is we are giving away a free pedestrian gate. It is a color bond gate by Durabond. These are designed and made in Australia. They're an all steel construction and they're made to withstand the intense heat of wildfires. So these are the kind of gates that get you Zone 0 compliant. If you wanna enter for a chance to win, please subscribe. Go to zone0california.com and fill out our form to download your free Zone 0 PDF checklist. All right, guys, once again, my name's Chris. Thank you. Occidental College, very high fire hazard severity zone. Hey, it's Chris. I'm back in the truck. Okay, so Occidental College is behind me. This is the corner we were filming on. And right across the street here is a wood house. So I'm just going to take a little drive down the block here, and we'll find out just how many homes on this street alone might have some areas of concern for Zone 0 compliance. Oh, look at this. The house I was in front of, all wood fence and gate in front of it. I mentioned the craftsman style homes, right? Wood siding, right? So here's a craftsman that's been redone to have stucco. Of course, they still have a wood gate in the front. Oh, this home right here, okay, between these two homes, wood fence, and look at that, the wood gate back there, how it goes right next to the home on both sides. Both homes have a wooden gate. There's another remodel going on over here, and a craftsman style home next to it. Right, and of course, just look at the trees right on this road. Right, do these trees pose a fire hazard? Well, if the leaves accumulate, now there's a wood gate down the middle back there and a wood fence. That's a Zone 0. But yeah, so these leaves, right? The leaves from the trees can land, accumulate if you don't keep it lean, clean, and green, as they say. All of a sudden, now you've got a pile of combustible material. And if that's close to your home, within 0 to 5 feet, you can see how it poses a risk. Now remember, this entire neighborhood, all of these neighborhoods, Eagle Rock, Mountain Washington, Highland Park, Glassell Park, all are very high fire hazard severity zones. All of it. So if you're in this area and you want to be put in touch with local contractors, just go to zone0california.com, give us a call or fill out the form, and we'll connect you. All right, thanks.